Hey, hi everyone. This is Sai from Let's Upgrade. So let's talk about how to get your certificate. It's very simple. You will see two links in the description. Number one is the place where you have to go and mark your attendance. Marking your attendance tells us like, okay, you are a legit student who have attended this particular session. Link number two is your assignment. This is where your 90% of the priority is. You have to go and submit the assignment that is given to you in this particular session. Once you're done submitting that assignment, we will be evaluating that. We will send you an email. If you get the passing criteria, then only we will give you the certificate on a particular date that is mentioned again in the description. Please check these three things, and this is the way how you will get a certificate from Let's Upgrade. Number one, mark your attendance. Number two, just go ahead and upload your assignment. Check for the email that you have received it, yes or no. What is the feedback that you have received from your trainer? Number three, check on which date the certificates will be released. Thank you. Bye. All the best. Happy learning.
Hey everyone, welcome to this interesting workshop on cleaning messy data with AI. As the name implies, what we're going to do in this workshop is we are going to take some chunks of data that look like this. It's messy right now, isn't it? Like there's no interpretation whatsoever of what columns belong to what data type, right? So the intention of this workshop is to build an application that consumes such kind of data sets and then converts them to beautiful looking structured data formats, right? Which we can interpret as columns and rows, and then they can be dumped into a structured interpretable data format and then further used for data processing, right? So that's the intention of this workshop, is to build a tool that uses AI to convert this unstructured and messy data into structured and arranged data, which we can use further for our data analytics works, right? So um, with this, let's try to see what all we have in the content section. So in the content section, we have, say, first is the introduction and overview, which I think we've already done. Then we're going to discuss the software and requirements for this project, like what kind of software and what kind of tools and packages you require on your machine in order to enable yourself to build this application. And then we're going to discuss the overview of different Google Gemini models, because um, we would be using Google Gemini as the large language model API to build this project, right? So the AI, at the focus of the AI is going to be the Google Gemini large language model. And then post that, we're going to be coding. So this dotted box basically represents all those sections which include coding, right? So we're going to code the Gemini components first, and then you're going to code the Gemini prompt. That's basically the main prompt that's going to be used for passing the instruction to the large language model. And then we're going to code the Streamlit component. So why Streamlit? Because we are going to build a user interface in Streamlit, right? So this entire tool is going to be built using a user interface where the user is going to interact with the UI, and then allow the UI to consume the messy data, which is then going to be processed further and processed further by the AI, and then converted into a structured format which can be used further for your tasks, right? And post which we're going to be then playing around with the tool, where these sample messy data sets we're going to be um, allowing them to be consumed by the user interface one by one, and then see how it produces your result and output, right? So that's what we're going to do. So yes, that's about the content. So with this, let's go to the next section where we discuss about the software and the requirements, right? Hey there. So now let's talk about the software and requirements. So basically, the main libraries that we're going to use are the Google Generative AI and then the Streamlit, right? So to use this tool, or to build this application, you require these two Python packages, and both of these run smoothly when the version is 3.10 or higher, right? So make sure you have a Python version which is 3.10 or higher. Apart from this, there's nothing specific you need to use. It's all the standard packages that we're going to apply, like the OS package to read the Google API key from the environment variables. Make sure you have a Google API key, we call it as Google underscore API underscore key, because that's that's where the Google generative AI is going to read your API key, right, and call the API function. So that's all about the software and requirements. So now let's go to the next section. All right, so let's have an overview of the Google Gemini models, right? So, because we are going to use one of them in our workshop. So, the most popularly offered ones are the ones shown on the screen. The first one is the Google Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is the flagship reasoning model, right, of this generation that's released in mid 2025. And as you see here, it's best suited for complex coding, nuanced instruction following, and heavy multimodal tasks, right? So that's a flagship model. So that's the one based for heavy lifting. And the next one is the Gemini 2.5 Flash. So that is a high efficiency workhorse optimized for speed and high volume processing, offering a balance of performance and cost for enterprise scale applications, right? So that's the second one. And the third one is the Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite. So that's a lighter version of 2.5 Flash. Um, it's a specialized lightweight model built for extreme low latency and cost efficiency, designed specifically for simple high frequency tasks like classification and translation. So the Flash Lite is the lightest one, and the Pro is the heaviest one. And in between these two, we have the 2.5 Flash, right? So the Flash is basically a compromise between the heaviest and the lightest one, right? So based on your requirements, I think you can choose between these three. What we're going to do is we're going to use this 2.5 Flash because it's like an intermediary between the heaviest and the lightest one. So let's go with 2.5 Flash. And if things seem to work out fine, let's stick with the 2.5 Flash. Otherwise, we have the choice between, say, the Pro and the flashlight, right? So let's do the coding now, right? All right, so now let's start building our code. The first thing that we're going to do is create a project. So let's go to projects and let's say new project. Then we fetch the path where we want to create the project. So let's go to the location and select this folder. Then let's name the project to clean underscore messy underscore data. Right, so we have created our project, and then now what you're going to do is save this file with the same name, right? Clean underscore messy underscore data, right? So now we've created a .py file where the first thing we're going to do is import the library. So say import, so just give it some time. All right, import streamlit as st, then you use pandas as also pandas, then os, then the next one is then is connected to the kernel. So from Google import GenAI, right? And then from Google.GenAI import it's processing once again, so just give it some time. Google or GenAI import types, right? Right. So let's save this, and then the next thing we want to do is now define the API key, right? So to get the API key, yeah, I think it's processing a lot of information, so it's let's give it some time. Right. So now let's add a comment here that says get API key from the environment. Again, let's allow that time to process from the environment, right? It's taking a bit of time to respond. So let's say API underscore key equals OS dot get environment, and we say Google API key, right? All right. So with this, we define the Google Gemini components, right? Took a little bit of more time because of the processing time, but then otherwise, yeah, we're good to go. Now let's go to the next part. That is the actual prompt, right? Or maybe the Streamlit components. Let's see. All right, so now let's go to the next step. That is the Google Gemini prompt, right? The prompt, which is going to go as the main prompt to the LLM. We need to nicely code that. So let's say prompt to the LLM, right? Now let's start coding. So let's say uh, cleaning prompt template equals, right? Let's say you are an expert data analyst. Your task is to clean the provided messy dataset, right? Let's say the data is in CSV format. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to upload a CSV file, but then the format is going to be such, right? Now, let's say uh, let's give a placeholder to that. So let's say double star messy data. Then let's say CSV. And then let's have placeholder for the argument. So this is the argument that's going to be passed through the function in the code. And let's say output format. The output must be clean data. Maybe let's write clean data. So let's get some time. The editor, right? Then in a valid CSV format, including the header, right? So this should work, right? So what we're trying to do is we are saying that the output must be only the clean data in a valid CSV format, including the header. So we want to get that into a structured format, right? That's the reason why we are giving this kind of a prompt where we're trying to get the data in a structured format, where the input data might be messy and unstructured, right? So we say header, then we say did not include any explanatory text. Let's type it at the line at the bottom. So let's give some time to process. I think the editor is taking time to process. Let's say did not include any explanatory text, code fences, or comments outside the CSV block, right? So with this, we are done with the portion that basically is the prompt template, right? So this template is going to this is the standard template that's going to go to the LLM prompt, and then what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to get clean data from the unprocessed unclean data using this prompt, because you've given clear cut instructions in the prompt, right, to clean it, right? So now let's proceed to building the Streamlit user interface, which is basically the heart of the code. So within Streamlit itself, you're going to include all the other components, right, that call the different pieces of code. So let's go on building that piece. All right, so now let's go the Streamlit components. The first thing that we do is create the configuration. Okay, this is how I'm going to specify what's the layout going to be. So let's say set the page title and layout, say streamlit dot set page config. So page title, all right. So title is going to be AI data cleaner, and then layout is going to be a wide one, right? Now let's go to the actual UI. So let's say streamlit UI. Let's say streamlit dot title is, so clean messy data with Gemini API. Streamlit dot markdown. Let's say paste a CSV like text dataset and the AI clean inconsistencies, right? Then streamlit dot divider. So divide UI now into different sections. So uh, first column is the left column, so let's do that now. For input, say column input and column output, streamlit dot columns 2 with column underscore input, streamlit dot header. Let's name it like input data. data. So now what we're doing is we are allowing a section in the user interface to paste the messy text data. So messy data string text area. Let's say CSV like text. Let's say height is 250. And now let's have some sample data in this section, because when the user interface loads, right, we need some sample data for the user to get an idea of how the expectation is going to be when loading data as well as while populating the output. Let's say sample easy testing value equals let's create some sample data here. So I have some data in my notes which I'm pasting here. So you see here you have some dates, some text values, all of them messed up together. So you have new lines, you have commas, delimiters. So we'll take some time to type the sample data. So let's do it together. you all been able to figure out that this data belongs to some customer purchases, right? Right. So here we have finished pasting data, basically creating a sample messy data to be loaded in the user interface upon first load so that the user gets a chance to observe how this looks like, right? Now, let's write code for the button which is going to trigger the cleaning, right? So let's do that. So we have created a button, and what we're doing is coding the events within the button, right? What happens when you click on the button? Right, so now you want to ensure that the state is reset when the button isn't pressed, right? So what we do is if alright, so you handle this here if the button is not pressed. And now we move towards the core logic and output, right, of the tool. So next thing we're going to do is right. So right. Whereas another new header is AI output and results, right? So that's where the results are going to be populated. So now we're checking if the cleaning process should run. So say if run cleaner So we're checking if the API key is present or whether it's correct or it's stored in the environment variables. So the API key is not present, then what we do is we populate an error message. Alright, so now we're checking if the string which the user is going to input is present in the input box, right? The messy data string. So we have a warning if that's not the case. So now, if that's not the case, then what we do is right. So we mention these comments here so that we know what we're doing, right? The client is automatically going to use the API key from the environment. So full prompt equals cleaning from template format messy data string dot. So we say AI, let's say response while the AI is working on the data, right? And then now what we do is we're actually getting the response from the Gemini API using this line of code. So let's add comment, right? So model equals right? So let this process. Let's now in the time for the editor to process contents full prompt, and that's it. And now we process the response. So the clean data string equal response dot text dot strip. Right, and then so it's important to display all that we have as a table at the end. What we do is take a try block, then create data frame to display that, right? All right. So there's a download button, and then we handle the exception. We say could not parse the output to data frame. All right, there you go. So I think we have all the code ready, and now we are good. So before we move into the prospect of playing around with the tool, right, we need to make certain changes in the code. So the first thing is the exception block, right, which we have here. So the one that you see at the bottom, right, this one has to be outside. Then the message, I think it's vanished again. Let's type the message. So an error occurred with the Gemini API, right? So that's that. Then you see this with block needs to have a semicolon right here. And then, yeah, you see this thing, there should be not messy data. So I think now we are good to go, right? So yeah, so let's make these changes and then now let's move to running the tool, right? So let's go. All right, so here we are. We have finished the introduction and overview, and then software requirements, and then we have discussed the overview of Gemini and models, and then we have finished coding these three different components, right? The Gemini components, the Gemini prompt, and then the Streamlit components. And now we are in a position to now set and run the tool. So we have reached the last part where we're now going to play around with the tool. So let's do that. Let's go to the place where we have the tool saved. So let's copy this and then let's open the Streamlit app. So we say Streamlit run, let the app load. All right, perfect. So here we go. So clean messy data with the Gemini API and paste the CSV like text data set. Let the AI clean consistencies, right? That's the markdown, that's the heading. So here we have a sample messy data, and then this is the section where we're going to visualize the output and the results if we click on this button. So let's click on clean data with AI. So now it's saying AI is analyzing and cleaning the data. Right, and here we go. That's a beautiful table, which is basically the cleaned data that you see here, right? The ID, order date, customer name, product, price, status, right? So that's the clean data which you've got. So now you can download this as a CSV, right? And if you open that, okay, let's open it anyways. Here you go. That's a beautiful CSV file for you, right? Of the clean data. Right, so let's try another sample. So here I have few samples of messy data. Let's try this one. All right, so here we go. That's the clean part of the data with nice and clean columns, and in every column you have the respective data, right? That belongs to the column. There's no mismatch at all, right? Amazing. So you can download this as well. Let's try another one. Let's try this one, this data dump. Alrighty, here we go. That's again another cleaned version of this data. So in this way, we have successfully developed a tool, an application that consumes messy data through a Streamlit API and uses a Google Gemini API, the large language model API, to clean that data and generate a clean version of that data in the form of a table and populate that table in the UI itself. So I hope you have enjoyed this workshop. I would recommend you to go through the code once again and then practice the code all by yourself and then generate some more messy components of data and then try to clean them using this tool, right? So uh, I hope you all have enjoyed the journey of this workshop. Please do revisit these sections once again. And I wish you great enjoyment with this tool, right? And until then, I will see you in another workshop. So until then, take care. Bye bye.